All right, guys, this is part 2 of the presentation that I did for Randy Thompson and his crew up in Afton, Wyoming earlier this summer around your life insurance funnel. This is a strategy that for me as a team member allowed me to consistently write 200 plus life insurance applications every single year and do over $100,000 in premium. It has the potential to do the same for your agency. Enjoy. We're getting surface level answers from our customers. Why? Because we're asking surface level questions. If we want to get below the surface, we've got to go below the surface with people, okay? And so they're calling in, they're excited, but they're also a little stressed out about this debt. Guess what we can do now? We can just enter the conversation already happening in their minds and talk to them about getting life insurance to pay that loan off because they're a little stressed about that debt, but also disability insurance to make that monthly payment. For those of you that haven't heard that, would you like to see how that sounds like in like a role play scenario? Would that be helpful? Okay. Okay, Austin, I keep picking on you, but it's just working today, okay? So, Austin, I want you to call into my office to add your new Subaru, okay? And I'll just run this play, okay? Austin, I don't want you to give me objections right now, because I want everybody to see what it looks like from literally hello to I'm closing this thing. But then I'll talk to you about objections, and I'll teach you something you can take to your teams to allow them to know what to do when objection hits, okay? So just tell me yes for this, okay? But go ahead. This is Colter.
Hey, Colter. It's Austin O'Brien. I got a new car. What do you need in May?
Yes, sir, man. I love that. What did you get, Austin?
2024 Subaru Ascent.
Ascent, nice. Brand new. Brand new. What color did you go with, man?
I went with Alpine White. Looks good in the snow.
Alpine White. And what made you want it? Like, you upgrading, downgrading? Like, what made you want that one?
It's got third row seating, and it can get fixed in town, so I wanted to make sure it's going to be reliable.
Yeah. I could continue to go, right? Like, third row seating, like, things changing for you and your family?
Yes, let's just say yes.
But, like, let me pause there. Like, those questions, just me taking a little bit more interest into your life, like, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel understood and heard.
Right? Do you feel like that's a way to build a relationship with someone? Right? We just take a little bit more interest into him, okay? Now I'm ready. The first thing I'm going to do is I need to gather information, okay? I'm going to stop talking and stop it. I'm just going to run through the whole thing, okay? So, Austin, good stuff, man. So, did you pay cash or did you get a loan?
I got a loan.
Got a loan, okay. What bank are we using?
State Farm Credit Union.
Very nice. I like that. I like that. And, what amount did we finance with State Farm Credit Union?
65.
65,000? Okay, cool. What does that put your monthly payment at roughly?
82.
82. Awesome. And Austin, I know you've told me before, my man, but remind me what you do for a living?
I'm a doctor.
You're a doctor. Oh, wow. Okay, another place I can dive deep into his life, right? I'm going to do that for this, but okay. So Austin, where you've got a loan on this new Subaru, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at our car loan protection for you, and you can let me know what you think. Okay? So there's really 3 things that I think about as your agent. First thing is we want to make sure that if anything happened to the Subaru, maybe it's involved in a fender bender, maybe you hit a deer, or maybe even this thing's totaled. We want to make sure that we have the right coverage in place to come in to either pay to fix or replace the Subaru for you with little to no money out of your pocket. Okay? So I've got $500 deductibles quoted for comprehensive collision. Looks like that's what you had on your other vehicles, meaning the most you pay if anything happens to the Subaru, we $500. We'll cover the rest. Does that make sense? Makes sense. Okay. Second thing I think about is we've got this $65,000 loan financed with State Farm Credit Union. What we want to do is we want to make sure that that we have the right coverage in place to come in and pay that loan off in the event that you were to pass away prematurely. That way, remind me your wife's name, Jessica. That way, Jessica, if they have kids, Jessica and the kids, they're never in a position where they might be struggling to make that monthly payment on top of trying to deal with losing you, right? And that way, they don't have to tap into savings account, don't have to use anything, but it's just taken care of for them. And they can focus on losing you, basically, cope with that. And the third thing I think about, Austin, is where you're working, or your doctor. You've got this $860 monthly payment. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the right coverage in place to come in and make those monthly payments for you if you were to get sick or hurt and you were out of work for an extended period of time. That way, you don't have to stress out about where that money's coming from. You can focus on getting better and back to work. That way you don't have to tap into potentially exhaust savings account just to keep up with this thing. And that way you can keep the car and you don't have to sell it out of necessity. Okay? So Austin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at those coverages for you again. You can tell me what you think. But looking at that, Austin, it looks like we'd be able to do that. It looks like it'd bring that total back to about $185 a month. Okay? So we can wrap that up. I can get your ID cards. I need to gather a few things from you quick. The coverage is going to come in and pay off that $65,000 loan. Okay? It's life insurance. Okay? It's a separate policy. It's going to be showed up separately on its own line item on your bill. But just remember your total for this whole thing is $185. Okay? I need to gather a few things from you. I've got $100,000 of coverage. Okay, plenty to pay off the $65,000 loan and leave some behind. What I need to know, Austin, is in the event that something did happen, who do you want that money to go to? Jessica. Okay. Now I'm in the application, start with beneficiaries, and then I go through the health questions, okay? But I can do that because Austin has told me yes to what it does for him, right? You notice how Randy talks about call it what it does, not what it is? It's huge, right? We want to help people understand what's in it for them and the benefits, right? Before we just jump right in, because where's a common place people are getting objections? Hey, tell me about your life insurance. They have these beliefs about life insurance that whether or not they're true, they have them. That's just what's going on in people's minds. So if we can come in more general, talk about what it does, and you understand that, you're like, yeah, that makes total sense. Now I can get into what it is. Does that make sense? Okay? The same thing with the short-term disability. I do the same thing. Okay? Now, guys, the way that I position myself, there's really not a place for Austin to give me an objection. You guys notice that? Like, as a team member writing 200 plus life a year, I wasn't getting objections. It's crazy. It's all about how we position ourselves, okay? Now, it works because he's calling into my office. Like, the way that I did it, it works in that way, okay? Whereas if I'm calling out on a list, there's some other things I need to do beforehand to get there, okay? But Austin, the place that I get objections is when we give that price, right? Where I could say, hey, that total comes back to $185 a month. What are some objections you guys foresee your team members getting with that?
What is it for just the auto?
Okay, so I just want the auto insurance. Like, what is it for that? What else?
I've got plenty of savings and stuff at work. I don't need the other stuff.
Okay. Any other ones? Those are big ones.
I'll just sell the car.
I'll just sell the car. Okay. I like it. So here's the cool thing. Regardless of whatever objection your team members are hit with, they can use what's called an option close. We've quoted 3 lines here, okay? Car, life, health. So here's what we do. I say, Austin, totally get it. Obviously, you called today because we need to get the Subaru insured. Right? You need that to drive legally. State Farm Credit Union needs that as well where you have that loan. So that's got to stay. But of these other 2 coverages I've talked to you about, where one, I'm going to repeat myself because what has Austin just told me? It's a price issue. He's not happy with it. He's away from the benefits. I want to get him back there. So of these other 2 coverage, Austin, were one, in the event that you were to pass away prematurely, there's coverage that will pay off that loan. That way, Jessica and the kids, they're never in any position where they might be struggling to make that monthly payment. They don't have to sell the car out of necessity. They can keep it and focus on, losing you. Or 2, if you were to get sick or hurt and you were unable to work for an extended period of time, there's coverage that will come in and make those monthly payments. That way you don't have to tap into savings account. You don't have to stress out about where that money's coming from. You just focus on getting better. Of those 2 coverages, Austin, which one do you feel like makes the most sense for you right now?
Do you want to say both?
If you want, yeah, I'd like that. Okay, yeah, so then I'll just move on, right? But what are a few things that Austin would say to me there? Number 1, oh, well, I like the life insurance one, right? Or I like the coverage that'll pay off. Great. If we did that, it would bring that monthly total down to about $170 a month. Okay? He's going to either take it, then I just wrap that up, right? Or he's going to say, oh my gosh, so I can get the other one too for only $15 more? That's a fun day, right? He's going to do that. Or he's going to tell me, Colter, I just want the car insurance, I'm good. If he goes that route, I say, yeah, totally understand. He's told me no twice, okay? I'll just move on. But one other thing is that what I'll do is I'll pre-sell a callback, and I'll get into this here in a minute. Meaning, he's told me no, but if I could make the money make sense for Austin, would he do it? I don't know, but I think he might. And so what I would do is I'd say, Austin, I'll get your ID cards. We'll just do the car insurance for now. At least you know how we can help you in those other areas. But you know what, Austin, you've been a customer of ours for the last 7 years. We probably don't tell you this enough, but thank you. We appreciate you, okay? And because you've been with us for so long, I don't know when the last time we kind of just looked through everything in your account, in your household. And so if you're all right with it, when I find some time today, I'm just going to look through everything. If I see any potential discounts you might be missing out on or any potential gaps, holes, or concerns, are you okay if I just shoot you a call back?
Of course.
Okay? Now he knows I'm going to call him back, but now guess what I can do? I can go look at his account. I can go and look and see, does he have all the discounts that he qualifies for? Right? Go and do all the math. I want to find any piece of leverage I can. Do all that math beforehand. So maybe he doesn't have Drive Safe and Save. I'm going to do the math on all of his cars and see what I could work with if he wanted it, if he wanted to do that, right? Maybe he's got some young drivers. Maybe they don't have good student. I'm going to do the math to see. These are questions I'm going to ask him when I call him back, right? And if you get in the habit, your team members get in the habit of this, they're going to see that sometimes they don't have multi-car when they should. Sometimes they don't have multi-line when they should. There's another piece that you can put in your pocket. So now I've got $40 to work with. Now I'm going to call Austin back and say, Austin, hey, I found a few things. You have a couple minutes? Okay. So, the first thing is, I don't know if we've talked about this discounts. It's called Drive Safe and Save. Does that ring a bell? Right? Now I'm into Drive Safe and Save, and if he wants to do it, guess what I now know? Bingo, I've got $30 to work with. Okay? Let's just say I stopped there. I would go through all the discounts in this way. Now I'll say, here's the cool thing, Austin. You know that coverage that we talked about for your new Subaru that it looks like you went with the one that's going to pay off the loan, the other one you opted out of? Here's the cool thing. We can actually get you that other coverage that will repeat what it does for him. And here's the cool thing. We can do that, and with this discount, your overall bill actually still would go down by about $15 a month. Easy, right? Now it's I've made an offer that's hard for Austin to say no to. Okay? Does that make sense? As far as just that, that's just one play that I run. Okay? So added vehicles. If they have a loan, talk to them about life to pay the loan off, disability to make the monthly payment. Right? If you're getting 30 added, replaced, and 24 of them have loans, imagine if your team members ran this play every single time that it came in. Like, what would that do for you guys? Would it add, guys, I was getting close to 60, 70% closing ratio with this thing, okay? So, you do the math, you can see how many policies I was writing just from this play alone. But here's even the thing that will blow your mind is we get these smaller policies for Austin. Guess what I can now do? He's in my life insurance funnel. Now I can do an issuance review, right? I don't know how you guys work it, if you take the policies to people when you deliver them or if you have them come in and pick them up. But that is an opportunity. I get in front of Austin again. I'm like, Austin, we got to make sure this is correct, right? We've only got one shot at doing this thing. I want to make sure that we didn't miss anything, right? We go through the beneficiaries. We confirm everything. But now we talk about the coverage. Like, look, this is great. We're covering kind of the loan here. But I notice you have a mortgage as well. I guess help me understand, Austin, what would happen to the house if your income wasn't there anymore? Right now I'm looking in to build that coverage out, go from a $100,000 term policy, now maybe I'm going into $500,000, right? So you can do that on the issuance review, you can do that on an onboarding review, or even in an annual review, okay? And that's an opportunity for you to show them the stairs and buckets, which gets them to totally think differently about the life insurance altogether. And maybe your team member got this small instant answer, $22 a month in premium, but now they showed them the stairs and buckets in an onboarding appointment, and now they're leaving with $150 a month in premium because they like the idea of whole life. I don't know, right? Just another, we can systematize it in that way so our team members can get in front of these people and just have these conversations, okay? Another one, inbound service. We're getting added young drivers in our book of businesses, right? We can talk to the parents about getting life insurance for those young drivers, okay? Again, just everyday transactions that are happening in our agencies, okay? With our older customers, we just talked about the flexible care benefit, right? I think that's awesome, a great way to get into that conversation, okay? So those are kind of a few things of what to do, but I think I'll boil it down for you guys just to make it simple. And I like what David says as far as our team members need it to be super simple, right? We overcomplicate it for them. And so this is where I would start if you've got team members that aren't selling life like they can and you want them to, okay? Have them pay off loans. Okay, just have them pick one of these. Have them pay off mortgages. Or have them pay for funerals. I would just have them start there, right? Get them comfortable with this conversation, and if we can just have them run these plays off of these everyday transactions, they're going to start to write policies. And when they write that, now we can build them up and help them go after more premium. But also it's helping our life insurance funnel. It's getting more people in there so we can get in front of more people. What Randy taught me with, if you want to sell Bibles, go talk to the believers, go talk to the Christians. If you want to sell life insurance, talk to the people that believe in it, people that have it. Guys, it's a game changer for team members to get into like a life wants conversation, which I love the wants thing, by the way, right? No one wants to be told what they need or what they need to do, but wants different, right? But that type of a conversation is way easier to get into if our customers have a policy on the books, right? It's interesting how it works, okay? So that's a little bit about, here's where to find them, here's what to do, right? Just plug these in to these everyday transactions that are happening in the agency. The last thing I want to talk about is how to do it, okay? I want to share a few different pivots with you guys, if that's okay with you, that your team members can use to pivot into life insurance from everyday transactions, okay? So the first one is this, a liability pivot. I think this one's awesome, okay? And first, let's talk about pivoting real quick. As a team member, guys, I remember always being taught to pivot, okay? Like it's stamped in my mind, like the words pivot, because I knew we needed to pivot. Like we're in a life promotion, what do? We pivot. We pivot some more, right? That I got to a point where I'd answer these phone calls and I'd like recognize an opportunity to pivot, and sometimes I didn't pivot. Do we have team members that sometimes don't pivot? We recognize opportunities? I'll tell you what I dealt with. I dealt with this feeling of guilt. Like, holy crap, I just missed an opportunity. What am I doing? And guess what I let that sit too long. Guess what that did to me the rest of the day? It affected me negatively, right? But one day I realized, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I getting like so hard on myself? And I came to this conclusion that for whatever reason, we've convinced ourselves that if we don't pivot right then and there on that phone call, that opportunity is lost forever. You guys agree? Right? Maybe you guys don't know, but I'll tell you, as a team member, that was what was going on in my mind, okay? And I'd feel like guilty, like I missed out. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Then one day I realized, I was like, you know what? I don't think it's actually lost forever. Why can't I just call them back, right? So I was like, what in the world? I've been dealing with these weird things, but anyways, we can call people back, right? We're taught to pivot, but we're never even, like it's never taught to kind of pay attention to the timing of our pivots. Would you guys agree that the timing of our pivots is important? I mean, what if Amanda calls into my office and she's just angry about her bill, but I see that she's got a loan? How good is that timing? It hasn't worked well for me. Maybe Austin calls in and I just feel like Austin's in a rush. He's trying to get this vehicle added to his policy. He's trying to get back to work. Maybe it's not the right timing for me, but I recognize the opportunity. So what I started to do was what I call the pre-sell the callback, right? And it's simply that. It's just like, look, Austin, understand, I'll get your ID card sent over, get you on your way. Hey, look, we don't tell you this enough, but thank you. You've been a customer of ours for 10 years. I always like to start there, right? So we probably don't tell them that enough. People are like, oh, okay, thank you. But then also like, I don't know when the last time someone really looked through your account for any potential discounts you might be missing out on or any potential gaps, holes, or concerns. At some point today, when I find time, if I find time, I'd almost say if I find time, like, would you be okay if I shot you a call back if I saw something? Just simply that. If the team member recognizes the opportunity, just simply pre-selling that callback, now it gives me, the team member, time to go and look through his account, get up to speed on his experience with my office. I can go see all these notes, right? Randy and the Thompson agency, I mean, they're taking notes of the form conversations, right? Wouldn't it be helpful for me to know that Derek talked to someone about life insurance before and that he was really close to doing it? Or maybe he was just totally against it. He didn't like that. I want to go and get up to speed. I want to get as much information that I can so I can decide on what approach I'm going to take when I call back. I'm also going to look for discounts. Anything that can make my conversation a slam dunk, I'm going to find. But that's what pre-selling the callback does. It allows our team members to get there, to do that prep work. I don't know about you guys, but when I feel more prepared, it's a lot easier to do things confidently, right? A lot of you said that, oh, my team members, they just don't have the confidence. Well, guess what leads to confidence? The competence, right? If they know what they're doing, they're going to be confident. This allows them to buy time and do that. So I started to actually pre-sell the callback more than actually pivoting right then and there on the phone call because it gave me that edge to go and look at their account and get to know them. Now, when I go and look at that account, Maybe I'm looking at Matt's household, and he just made a payment, and I just sense, yeah, Matt's busy. He's on his way back to work. I pre-sell the callback, and I go and look, and holy crap, Matt he's purchased a new truck. He's got a loan on it. That's my approach. Again, pick one of these approaches. Have your team members pick one approach. I'm going to call him back, and I'm going to talk to him about getting life to pay off his loan. But I'm going to go look and find all the discounts. What if I found he doesn't have Drive Safe and Save? I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to add all that up. I'm going to do the math beforehand. So all these discounts, I know, okay, if he qualifies, he wants all of these, that's $50 a month in premium to sell a $22 a month policy. That's an offer that I know is like a slam dunk, right? And so that's what this pre-selling the callback allows us to do. Now, if there's not like a loan, if there's not really any mortgages to pay off, then just pay for a funeral, right? And here's the liability pivot that I really like, okay? And again, this can happen right then and there on the phone call, or you can call him back later and do the pre-sale callback. It's this, I call Austin, I just review his liability coverages with him, okay? I used to do this a lot as a team member. Hey, Austin, it looks like we've got liability coverages set at 100, 300, 100. Do those make sense of how those work? Okay? Now I have an opportunity to build some trust with him. I'm going to teach him something that he didn't really know. And by the end of it, he's going to realize, holy crap, I should have known that. Like, that's kind of a big deal, right? But basically, I'll say, hey, in the event of an accident that you cause, right, you're at fault, we have coverage that will pay up to $100,000 if you injured one person for them, up to $300,000 if you injured more than one person, and up to $100,000 in property damage, okay? This covers them. If you're all right with it, Austin, what I'm going to do is a lot of people actually like to get the same type of coverage for themselves as well. I'm going to look what it would cost and see to have that same type of coverage for you, that if there's something, if you're involved in an accident and, heaven forbid, if you didn't make it, there's coverage that we can leave behind for Jessica and the kids. Now we're into it, right? And so this coverage is for them. A lot of people like the same coverage for themselves, right? Great pivot to get into that. And again, whether you do it right then and there on the phone call or you call them back, it's up to you. But I really like the pre-sale and the callback because it allows the team members to have a plan and build some confidence from there, okay? And then the last thing that I want to talk about, how are we doing on time, Randy?
You got about 7 minutes.
That's perfect. That's what we need. Then I'll open up for some questions. But with the new business, okay, I really just want to, help you guys understand how important these questions are and what it can do for your team members, right? If people submitted a form to shop their insurance, let's find out why they did that. And let's probe at that, okay? It's going to separate your team members from all of the other quotes they've been getting. There was a statistic that I read, or maybe listened to, I think it was in the Challenger Cell. Great book, by the way, if you haven't read it. That talks about what causes people to buy. Is it more of the product and what they're offering, or is it more how much of it is the product that people are purchasing, or is it that gets them to buy, if that makes sense, or the sales experience of going through the buying process with you. I can't remember the statistic, but it was it kind of surprised me that more people are making the decision of who they're going to go with by how the buying experience was when they first were getting the quote. Kind of interesting. Right? And so these questions allow that experience to be what we want it to be. And so Austin, if he's the lead, I want to find out what's got him shopping. So the question, you can write this down, is Austin. I like to avoid the why questions. I feel I don't know about you guys, but why? It's why do I have to tell you that, right? Kind of puts up a guard for people. So instead, what caused you, again, you use neutral language, what caused you to maybe feel like you'd want to look at different options for your car insurance, right? Now he's going to tell me his reason, but now I want to dig a little bit deeper, right? Oh, it's price, Colter. My rates have been up. I just want to know a little bit more about his situation. Why did those rates go up, right? Was it a sudden jump, or did it gradually go up? So the progression of these questions, okay, was it a sudden gradual increase over the last year, or was it a sudden jump, right? I can kind of see doubt here, and then I keep digging a little bit, and I say, okay, why did it go up? Right? That's what's in my mind. I want to figure that out. Well, I guess, do you know, is there any reason that maybe it would have just shot up like that? Did you have a claim? Did you have any tickets? Had a young driver? Anything like that? Right? Those questions will give you so much power in the conversation. They're going to naturally lead what they're paying for, but then they allow us to tailor what we're doing to our customers. I'm telling you, the experience they have with your team members when they can get into those questions, it becomes all about Austin and less about the team member. It becomes all about me closing Austin, but me understanding if we can even help him, right? And, kind of like what I think David was mentioning it yesterday, when we first started out, like he was trying to sell anything and everything that anybody could, right? And when we get in that state of mind, we're communicating desperation. People don't like that, right? What do people like? They like the neutral. They like to be neutral, right? Almost like, I don't even know if I can help you, right? And with life insurance, guys, do we know that we can help every single person with life insurance? Do we? No. I mean, maybe a Giphy if they're of age, but they have to what? To qualify. So why are our team members telling people, oh yeah, we can get you this, no doubt, right? We're communicating some sort of desperation there. Instead of like, look, Will, like, I don't even know if we could help you. But if we could, right? Now it's a different conversation. Our customers treat it differently. So anyways, I hope this helps, guys. These are places of where to go to create all of these opportunities. But I want you to think about this. If you could add 100 life insurance policies a year to what you're doing right now, what would that do for you? What would that do for your agency? What would that do for your team members? But then think a little bit further. You now have, how many opportunities do you now have in 2025 that you didn't have in 2024? 100. Think if you showed every single one of those people that you wrote these smaller policies for stairs and buckets. What would that look like? Right? Guys, it's the systems, it's the processes, that's what creates this consistency. That's what allowed me as a team member to write, the production that I was writing, 200 plus life a year. It was plugging into the systems of the everyday transactions that are happening in the agency and getting good at those different conversations. So, anyways, let's open up for a few questions. That's what I've got.
One thing.
Go ahead, Amanda.
That was an aha moment for my team when they started really probing and price. Because if someone says, why are you shopping? They say price. Automatically their head goes to, I gotta give the cheapest thing.
Right.
But when they start probing, you'll find that most people are gonna say, well, it's not that the price mattered, my agent couldn't explain to me why. And if you really probe, then my team members like, whoa, it's not that they want the cheapest, they just need to be educated, and I already know that we do that. So that really was a shift for them, rather than going right to, oh my God, they just want the cheapest, to probing about price and realizing the customer was okay paying it, they just needed to know why and what they're paying for.
Yep.
So that was huge.
I love that, right? And it's just that information too, like if you're calling into my office and I probe and we get to that level, like the way that you're going to view me is going to be different, right? You're going to be like, holy crap, he actually helped me realize what this was. That's a form of credibility and trust that sometimes we don't think about. Go ahead.
Well, and my team member was also Arabic. It's like, well, hold on. We don't even know if we're going to be able to get you life insurance, so don't just go saying no right away. He's like, wait, we have to. He's like, yeah, we can qualify you for an instant answer possibly right now, but we can't say for sure. We waited, talked. He got approved. The guy got a policy right away, came back, got one for his wife, and then changed his instant answer to a $500,000 20-year term, which he will then. So it's just like, it's crazy how that little shift of just saying we don't even know if we can. It's like, well, now I want to know if I can. And
it's kind of like that pullback. Everybody wants what they can't have, right? And when they sense that, like, oh, I can't have it, like they now want to qualify to you why they feel like they can get it, right? Interesting, yeah, that's interesting. Cool. Go ahead, Tom.
So, Colter, for you personally, how many of your life policies were you getting a year off of just kind of those two plays, the loan protection play, on mortgages and auto?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say mortgages and auto, that would probably be the majority. I'd probably say 60. Yeah, like of the initial transactions, but then a lot of the other ones come because of those initial ones that I meet with and build that out. I can't tell you how many instant answers I converted to whole life, as well as then supplement some term for them, right? Like that's the power of this thing. So a good chunk, and the reason I say it's a good chunk because I was a hybrid role, I was taking those calls, I was getting those calls every day of people that are adding cars, and so it's just like, let's just plug into what's already happening today. And that's where I was able to have those conversations.
You didn't brag enough about how much you were producing using these plays.
Yeah. So My 4th year, I wrote 123 life apps. My 5th year, I did 231. 5th year, I did 251. Then through my last year, through September, I was just over 200. So, and I was doing, my first year, I think the year I wrote 123, I probably got like 60,000 in premium. The next year, I did like 100,000. And the next year, I did 150,000. But it was because I had all these opportunities that now I could have the stairs and buckets conversation with, or build out that premium from there.
All while you're still doing auto and fire insurance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So guys, it was a system, right? Like once you have this in your mind, it's less of like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's like, let's just plug into what we're already doing, right? It's like the last thing that I would want to do is have you guys completely stop what you're doing and do this, but it's like just plug this into what you're already doing, right? It's like the concept of, I bought some vitamins from Costco because I'm thinking, man, I should probably get some vitamins. And I leave them on the counter purposely so I can remember, what does my wife do? She puts them back in the cupboard. Guess who stops taking their vitamins, right? Then when I put it next to my toothbrush, something I see every day, it starts to happen. Like that's kind of the way that I thought as a team member. How can we make it just part of what we're already doing instead of making all these changes? So, thank you.